Welcome. My name is Taisha. Today I'm going to be administering my 35th Zepbound injection, and I'm also going to give you a week 35 update. Now, today is Sunday, October 20th. All this time I've been doing them on Saturdays, and I'm switching to Sunday just because of the convenience of our schedule lately. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I always start by washing my hands. Alrighty. Then I grab my shot. Okay, and my alcohol pad. So, all right. So I have, if you've seen any of these before, then you know I do the same thing every time. I have the same routine and I stick with it, which prevents me from having any misfires or anything like that. So I've got my sterile alcohol prep pad. Let me see. I think I'm gonna tuck my shirt in. And yeah, so I started off on 2.5 milligrams. I did that for 4 weeks, and the remainder of the time I've been on 5, which has been working perfectly. So last week I did the left side, so today I'm going to be doing the right. I've also this entire time just alternated between my left and right side. So that is just a comfort thing for me. I have no desire to switch it up. And yeah, that's it. So they always come locked. What I do is I keep it locked, right? I take this cap off, then I apply it to the area. And you're going to hear a series of 2 clicks. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock it now. The first click lets you know the injection has started, and the second click lets you know that it's done. So there's 1, there's 2. And I'll leave it for a few seconds. And then just like that, it's done. This is a very, at least for me, it's a very simple process. And I like simplicity. It's easier for me to stay compliant with things when they're simple. So another week, no blood. And I don't feel it go in. So sometimes I'm just like, but the clicks let me know. So anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me go over week 35. So still no side effects, still maintaining 53 pounds lost. If I don't start my day eating fairly early and kind of keeping things spaced out, it's hard for me to get the amount of calories in that I want. And my goal, I shoot for 1800. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less. So what I have told myself is that I'm not going to force myself just to try to get all this food in just to get it in. I definitely want to make sure that I'm eating enough because I strength train 5 days a week, which has been going really well. I got a new walking pad recently, and my goal for October was, at least for the rest of the month from when I got it, was to do 30 minutes a day. And so far I've been doing really well. I did miss one day. I can make an excuse for why I missed it, but the bottom line was that day, I just didn't want to. I did a lot of traveling that day, and instead of doing it before I left, I didn't. So then it just didn't get done because I just didn't feel like it when I got home. However, I noticed the next day, I had a lot going on, and I almost gave myself an excuse. And that's exactly what it would have been, an excuse to not do it. And I'm like, it's just walking on the walking pad, right? So I got on, put something on YouTube, got my 30 minutes done, and I felt so much better. So something I kind of wanted to touch on today is we're not going to always feel like doing things. I don't always feel like doing things. I am not captain of the motivation team. It really boils down to discipline and routines. I have routines in place, and there are things that I do every day where it just feels weird if I don't. So I'm not gonna lie, the day that I didn't walk on the walking pad, I kind of was disappointed in myself, but not so disappointed where I did it, right? So here we are, I've still been continuing on with that. Something else that I wanted to talk about is I noticed that, especially for I see it with new people that are new to these types of meds and people that have been on it a while. You have this expectation. So you're watching other people's journeys and you're seeing weight dropping off or whatever it is that you see that you, I don't want to say envy, admire about someone else, then you become hard on yourself. So if you're that kind of person, it may be better for you to not watch any content. Obviously, those of us that are making videos are making it because we want other people, we want to share our journey. We want you to see what's possible. I notice that a lot of us have a lot of similarities. And something that I struggled with was wanting everything done like right away. So I would end up starting something, way overdoing it to the point where it wasn't sustainable. And then I would just give up entirely. And I feel like the information is out there. This medication is great. It does what it's supposed to do, but we have to do what we're supposed to do. Dietary changes. You don't have to be a vegan or go switch to whole food plant-based. That was the best decision for me. But you cannot continue to do the same things that you've been doing and expect these huge changes, right? And for those that you're observing and you feel like, well, they're still doing the same thing and they're having results, you don't know that. You don't know what their diet was before they started. There's a lot of different factors, right? We have to focus on what works for us. What works for me? Strength training 5 days a week. I'm doing 20-minute sessions. The YouTuber that I am following is Lift with C. Now, when I first started my journey, I did 4 different workouts with a YouTuber, and the channel was Strong Sisters United. And I am glad that I started there. And then I moved over to Lift with C. I did 8 weeks of her program called The Compound, and now I'm currently doing these full body workouts that are just 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 5 days a week. And now I've incorporated walking for 30 minutes a day on my walking pad. That is manageable. Yeah, I could do other things. I could add stuff, but then it's overwhelming. And I know this is a little different. The entire time I've been making content, I've been trying to make, shorter videos in hopes that, I'm coming on here, I'm getting right to the point for people to understand. But I feel like I'm doing a disservice because I could come on here every week and say, okay, yeah, I've lost weight or I've maintained weight. I'm eating a whole food plant-based diet. I'm strength training, and then be out. But that's not really helping you. I need you guys to understand that for nearly 14 years, I had the same struggle that a lot of you have. I struggled with motivation, consistency, also being a product of a microwave society where we want to do something and we want the results right away. And that is just simply not going to benefit you. Whether you're going to be on this medication short term or you plan to be a lifer like me, you're going to have to make lifestyle changes. You can watch all the videos in the world. Don't look for the videos where someone is not making any changes and the weight's just dropping off. That doesn't serve you. That doesn't serve any of us. And I think for so long, I was on the sidelines watching other people, not necessarily taking into account their journey. We can come across someone that looks like they just have everything, everything together, everything going for them. It's effortless, it's easy. And maybe I feel like maybe I made it look too easy and then I'm not relatable, but it's not. I just don't believe that I should have to come on here every week and complain about different things. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, this is the time of year that is very difficult for me. I've had, just over the years, different deaths. A lot of them were around this time frame. It's darker, longer. You know what I mean? I love sunshine. And unfortunately, I live in the Midwest, and this is the time of year where it's dark more than it's light. And that's a struggle for me. It's a struggle for me to want to get out of the bed, to want to do anything. But I know that in the past, that hasn't served me well. In the past, when I would start something and then stop, I'd end up feeling worse than I did before I started the first time. And if every time that I failed, I never started again, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here right now. We have to change our mindset. And I know that people say that a lot, and it's maybe considered a buzzword, or it's like, yeah, mindset. But it really is mindset. We have to do things that are uncomfortable. And I'm not saying push yourself to the limit, you know what I mean? Because that's not sustainable. I know there are people with that thought process. If you want it, you're going to work for it. Okay, yeah, but there's better ways to do it. And my advice to you, if you've been on this journey, if you're just starting, if you're getting ready to start, is you have to have a mindset shift. No more of this, we're going to work hard until we get to this date and that's it. We're working for this thing and that's it. Our health, this is a lifelong thing. And a lot of you, from what I've seen in the comments over the past 35 weeks, have struggled with this, a lot of you, your whole life. So something has to be different. The medication is a tool. It is not meant for you to just heavily rely on that and that's it. If you're not hungry, you got to eat. I have to be honest, I have not felt hunger since I started on this medication. I just haven't. I haven't had any food noise. I haven't actually felt hunger. Now, occasionally, a craving will pop up. Like last night, I wanted tortilla chips. I didn't get them. I asked my husband to get them for me. He said no, because he knows. That was a fleeting thought. And what he said to me was, no, because tomorrow you're going to regret it. And he was absolutely right. But I'm being real with you. That's not hunger. Oftentimes when I eat, I'm not eating because I feel hungry. I'm eating because I know I need to eat. So if that's you, if you're on this medication and you don't feel hunger, like your hunger cues are off, you got to eat. You still have to eat. Drinking water. I understand a lot of you don't like to drink water. Then drink something. Drink something. Something that's non-sugary, because our bodies need that. If you're struggling with constipation and you know that you don't drink a lot of water, up your water intake. Do you get what I'm saying? Like a lot of these things, and I'm putting myself in it, right? We make things way harder than they need to be. Supplements. I don't believe that you guys should have to take all these things. I feel like, and again, this is just my opinion, right? Just let the medication work. Taking all these extra things, you're overcomplicating something that really is simple. What you can rely on for my content, right? I'm never going to try to sell you anything. I just don't believe in that. Let me tell you why. I've spent thousands over the years on supplements, gimmicks, these shots, these pills. All I needed to do is what I'm doing now, which is being mindful of what I'm putting in my body and moving my body. Yeah, I'm sure there are these different things that you can take that'll speed the process along, but it shouldn't be a fast process. You're not building 5 pounds of muscle or anything like that in a week. It's a process. It takes time. We are human beings, and things don't work like that. They just don't. Save your money. Save your money. That's my advice to you. Save your money. Change what you're doing. Move your body, even if it's a walk. If you want to sit down in a chair and go from sitting to standing, bending over, stretches, that is better than nothing. Try that. Try moving your body, changing your diet. Do that consistently, not for 3 or 4 days and you get on and the scale hasn't moved and now you're like, oh, well, I'm making these changes and nothing's happening. You're not giving it time to work. Adding other stuff in the mix is unnecessary. So just listen. If you haven't heard any, if you're still here and you haven't heard anything else that I've said, please listen to me. You don't need to buy a whole bunch of stuff. You don't need electrolytes. You don't need all of that stuff. That is not a need. Now, if you have changed your diet and you've been consistent, and I'm talking about weeks, months, not days. You've been consistent. You're strength training. You're, maybe you're not tracking like your calories, like I'm eating X amount of calories a day, but I'm not eating the same way I was before. I'm eating differently. I'm moving my body and nothing's happening. Then you talk it over with your doctor and let them know what's going on and see if you need a modification. Maybe you need to go up a little bit. Maybe you need to incorporate something else. Maybe you need to do something differently, right? But this buying, just this overconsumption and buying all of these things because you want the process to go faster, that is what kept a lot of us where we were for so long. Okay? I know that I'm beating a dead horse, but I want you to understand you don't need it. You don't need the supplements, you don't need the extra shots. Just change the way that you're eating. Be mindful of what you're eating. Make sure you're getting a good amount of water and move your body. And try that. Try that for a month straight and see what happens. If you're the type of person that when you get on the scale, it depresses you, stay off the scale. That is a conscious choice. You're making the choice every day to get on the scale. And if it's something that doesn't motivate you and it actually makes you feel bad, then stop doing it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things are in our control. There are things that aren't, but a lot of these things, like getting on the scale and knowing that if the number hasn't moved the way that you want, you're going to feel defeated, that's a choice. That's a choice. So maybe you switch to once a week. Maybe you switch to once a month. Maybe you don't use the scale and you go by how your clothes fit, how you feel. Do you know what I mean? I see people when they say, I only lost X amount of weight. What does that mean? What do you mean only? You lost weight. If your goal is to lose weight and you're losing weight and it's not at the rate that you want, you got to do something a little bit different. And recognize we're not supposed to be losing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds a week. That's just not how the body works. When we first when we start losing initial weight, a lot of times it's water weight, it's all these different factors, right? If you're someone like me that was binge eating, like food was just not going to exist the next day, that was a huge shock, right? I went from eating 6,000, 7,000 calories a lot of times in a day to drastically dropping down. I think when I first started, I wasn't tracking calories, but I'm pretty sure I was getting, between 14 and 1,600 calories a day. That's a huge difference from 6,000. So of course, initially, the weight's gonna come off. I lost a bunch of muscle in the beginning. If I could go back and do it over and it was a slower pace and I got to retain muscle, absolutely, I would hands down do that. Okay? The number on the scale is not showing you your body composition. That's why I get DEXA scans. That's why there are things called in-body scans, like showing you the ratio of muscle versus fat and everything else. You could be working really hard, get on the scale and see, you know what? I only lost a pound. But that's not telling you that, okay, you may have lost 5 pounds of fat and put on some muscle and then it just looks like 1 pound on the scale. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I've definitely talked about that long enough, but I just want you to understand this is something, what you're doing now should be what you plan on doing for the rest of your life. So unless you plan on taking a barrage of supplements and all these other things that cost extra money, if you're not going to do that for the rest of your life, then don't do it now. Pace yourself. This is a lifelong journey. And that is all the advice that I have for you. You guys have a great day. If you have any questions or if you're someone that you struggle with the same thing, comment below. I would like to have an open, honest discussion. And again, I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I've done it. I did it for far too long. And that is what has helped me be successful, this mindset shift. So, bye.